We want to remind everybody that we have spent time here today thinking about what is happening in Boston. Right now, they are getting ready for a ceremony that will honor the moment that the Boston Marathon bombing happened. They will have a moment of silence there as well that will happen at 2:49 Eastern Time. What you see here now are many of the dignitaries and the folks as they are gathered in Boston with heads bowed, and they are preparing for that moment at 2:49 Eastern when they will remember what happened and what really changed a city. I don't think that we have a beginning of the ceremony yet, and again, I'm watching it along with everybody here. Let's go live to Boston right now. What you're seeing here is basically what we in the business call it's the wild track, if you will. It is a camera that's there, and they're taking this as the live feed, and that's from the governmental center there as people are honoring the Boston Marathon bombing with a moment of silence. There's going to be a lot of these moments, and I would imagine that right now down on Boylston Street, things are very different as well. A couple of moments here, if you will, as we continue to watch this from a personal standpoint. You may have been here a little while ago when we spoke with Howie Carr. Howie is well known in the Boston area, a radio personality there, and he speaks with us here from time to time on Newsmax. Howie and I spoke a little bit about being in Boston at that time. And I'm very happy to say that, and people I think here have heard me say it many times, that I was very lucky at a time in my life to be living in Boston, and I lived there for 4 years, and I got to experience an awful lot there. I actually was there when the Red Sox basically broke the schneid and got through and won the World Series that one year, and it had been so many years since they had won one. It set the whole city off. It was an interesting time to be there and to watch what happened. But I can tell you that I worked a couple of miles away, not too far actually, right down near Boston University at the time, from Boylston Street and from where the Boston Marathon ends. And an awful lot on Boston Marathon Day when it would come around. I don't think that people who haven't lived there understand what it's really like. The whole city just shuts down. It's a day of celebration. It's a day of fun. It's a day where families come together. It's a day when people who've never run more than a mile actually get out there and they try to challenge the marathon. It's live television coverage, live radio coverage. It's people gathered at that start line, at that finish line, where they're constantly there and they're waiting. And then you have the baseball game that comes up after that. The Red Sox always play later in the day. It's a special kind of day. And having been there, having lived in Boston, having been on those streets and walked right at that spot where both of those bombs went off, and I know it very well, and it's always a fun time for people. It's a very busy street, and just being there, and still to this day for me, watching the bombs go off. Of course, I wasn't there 2 years ago. I had already left Boston. But once you're there and you're involved with the people, the kids, the general feel of it, you become a part of it. Somebody said to me when I first moved to Boston, they said, you know, you're an outsider. And I said, what do you mean? They said, you know, you're never really going to be a part of Boston. It'll take you living here 20 or 30 years before the people in Boston will ever accept you as one of their own. Because people here are born here, they die here, their roots are here, they've been here for hundreds of years. You're an outsider. As a matter of fact, you're even worse than an outsider. You were actually born in New York. So people are going to think that you're a Yankees fan right off the top. They simply will not accept you. They were wrong. I was there for 4 years, and within about a year, because we did a television show up there, we did a nightly show, I got to know a lot of people there in a very short period of time, and they accepted me as one of their own, as somebody that was from there. And to this day, I still talk to them, and we talk about great times and great moments. But ever since this happened, this always comes into the discussion, one way or another, because even if we didn't know someone who was affected, one of the people who died, one of those people who lost a limb, and there's always that 2 or 3 degrees of separation where you always know somebody who was close to it. Even if we didn't know anybody, we're emotionally affected by it because it took what was a wonderful day and it destroyed that day and still lives in the minds of everybody. We still think about it. The people there still think about it. We think about those moments, the people that we knew. And that's why when Boston Strong came out, so many people said, it's just a saying, leave it alone. It's no big deal. People are going to put it on T-shirts and hats and they're going to make money off it. Okay, some people did. But the people of the city who live there, it means something to them and to us because we know that it changed a city. It changed people. It changed a world in many ways. Because remember, the marathon has people from all over the world who come there to see that. And it made us all think twice about our families, our loved ones, and how things are taken away from us in a split second. Last week, I asked a question on the show. I said, could you pull the switch? We were talking about Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, and we were talking about whether or not, if he were to get the death penalty, people could actually pull the switch. Tomorrow on this show, in Telling It Like It Is, I'm going to bring you some of the answers that people gave us on that. And a lot of it surprised me. But it's not for today. It's not for the moment. It's for remembering those people, the ones who died, the ones who were injured, the families that were ripped apart. But it's a matter of bringing it all together, reminding us that just because a couple of lunatics took away a beautiful day, you don't let them ruin it forever. You move forward, and you always mark these moments for what they are. You remember them. You remember the people. And whether you live there or not, you remember that the best words right now are Boston Strong. Rock on, true believers. Thank you so much for joining us. To my friends in New England and around the world, I say it again, Boston Strong. Thanks for joining us. We're back Thursday on MidPoint.